First Contact, Part 1, by Routes Bloodthorn. Captain, I've got an anomaly on my scanners. Scan Tech 3rd Class, Chemovar said, breaking the quiet of the bridge. The entire bridge crew, numbering 40 in all, turned and looked at the youthful Nakar, as if he had suddenly gone mad. Out here, between star systems, as far from the outer rim civilizations, Captain Holcath asked, blinking his rearmost eyes. What is it? The tech checked his scanners again. It looks like some kind of beacon in real space that's transmitting into jump space. Bridge Executor First Class Ledmar lifted his crest to calm the bridge crew, moving forward and bending over the scanner to look at it with his two forwardmost eyes, which in ancient times had been used to get a good view on whatever plant was about to be eaten. Indeed, Captain, our young midshipman is correct. It is a beacon of some sort, Ledmar said, shrugging his heavy shoulders to ease the discomfort of stress. He turned to Captain Holcath. As is a mission of exploration into this region, we should see what is broadcasting from real space to jump space. Since the act of having a beacon able to reach jump space is something new, I suggest an investigation. Second Science Officer Olmuk put in. His supervisor, First Science Officer Rektik, nodded, a safe input to the discussion that wouldn't risk his position. Very well, Captain Holcath said. He disliked strange things. Strange things had proven dangerous for every species. But as the science officers and the executor had reminded everyone, the mission of the scout ship Seeker of Unknown Spaces was to explore. He turned to the four helmsmen. Take us down to real space. Let's see what this beacon is. All crew, prepare for real space entry. Crew Liaison 2nd Class Kulka called out over the ship intercom. Captain Holcath locked his crash harness in place and swallowed to lock his esophagus in case one of his four stomachs attempted to purge due to jump space shock. How close are we? Captain Holcath asked, once he and the rest of the bridge crew had recovered from translation sickness. 9 solar units, Chemovar replied. 9 solar units, Chemovar replied. So far, all I can detect is the beacon. There's a significant mass at the beacon, probably due to whatever technology allows them to push the beacon signal into jump space. The beacon appears to be sitting on a large expanse of dark matter shadow, Rektek said, looking up from his screen where the third science officer's data was projected. An odd place to put a beacon. Perhaps they were warning others away due to it being dangerous to them somehow? A logical assumption, Jane. Log it for investigation, Executor Ledmar said, unbuckling his crash harness so he could stand up. He disliked being held in one spot, unable to move about. He blinked all 6 eyes, a pair at a time, then looked about the bridge. Let us explore. Bring us closer, but be careful, Captain Holcath said, earning a nod of approval from the executor. Continue scans. Let me know if there is any change. Hours flowed by slowly, the scout ship approaching the beacon slowly but surely. Less than 1/10 of a solar unit from the beacon, the science and scanning officers went to work. It's coming up now. I'm getting trace energy readings, not much beyond the beacon and what's probably some supporting equipment, Third Scanner Officer, Scantech 2nd Class, Hunra said, leaning back. It's easily detectable across most spectrums, almost as if whoever built it wanted it to be seen. I'm bringing it up now. Captain Holcath nodded. Bring it up on screen. The executor stared at the screen. Bring it up in visual wavelength. It was dark, unlit. The only way to see it was the shadow it cast in front of the stars. Give us a scan view. Keep it low. We don't know if our scanning emissions are dangerous to their people, Third Science Officer ordered. The Scantechs bent to their work. Low-powered lasers and radar flickered over the beacon. In the middle of the scan, it lit up. It immediately reminded Captain Holcath of a water predator. 12 tentacles hanging down from a wide, oval body. The lights emitted by the beacon appeared to be wholly devoted to lighting up the structure. "That's a big beacon," Chemovar said. "I'm detecting more power readings." "It appears to be waking up," the executor mused. He looked at the crew liaison. "Stage 2 alert. Let us hope this is not some kind of hostile thing." To Holcath, it looked creepily alive. The tentacles began moving, no longer hanging down, but instead slowly moving into position to act as a skirt at the bottom. "Hail it," the executor ordered the third communications officer. Holcath looked at his ship readiness readouts. They had weapons, exploring the vast unknown mandated such, and everything was ready, at least performing at 80% capacity. "We're getting a response," the communications officer answered. Holcath looked at his readouts. It was obvious what the response was. Basic numerical binary. "Science officers?" the executor asked. "It appears to be only 2 digits rather than 6, the second science officer reported. Wait, it shifted. Now it appears to be based on 10 digits, using the 2-digit system to show... It shifted again, using a base 16. The first science officer looked up. "I believe it's automated and attempting to communicate." Holcath stared at the image. It still looked faintly malevolent. It definitely reminded him of an aquatic predator, and the fact it was sitting in a dark matter shadow, like it was feeding somehow, made his shiver. "Let the Omni translator listen to it then," the executor said, turning away. He had his rearmost and forward eyes shut, obviously dismissing the object. "Captain, my scans. I believe the beacon is roughly 200 solar rotations old. It's been out here, in the darkness between solar systems, for a long time," second scanning officer reported. "Perhaps it's a derelict?" The executor hummed to himself. "Doubtful." Captain Holcath just nodded, adding the data to his screens. The executor moved over to the first science officer. "Do we have anything on its composition?" The science officer shook his head, his mouth tendril swaying. "No, executor. We can tell that it is there, but according to the scans, it is a solid object." The view screen flickered a few times, getting the captain's attention. Nobody brought it up, but he included that in his screen's data. He ordered the third maintenance officer to run a scan on the bridge systems, and leaned back. "Approach slowly. I want to know what that thing is," the captain ordered. The executor coiled his tendrils in disapproval, but stayed silent. The strange beacon, 8 tendrils extended out from the sides, lit up to show that it was made of chrome, with red and white markings on the tendrils. The screen flickered again, the same with everyone's data screens. "Maintenance, what's going on?" the executor asked. "It appears to be the ship's computers have triggered a full diagnostic," the second maintenance officer told the executor. "Who ordered such a thing?" the executor asked, opening his rearward-facing eyes to stare at Captain Holcath for a long moment. It came from your terminal, Chief Executor," the third maintenance officer stated, his rank too low to worry about the chief executor demoting him out of displeasure. "That is impossible," the chief executor stated. He looked at his terminals, which showed nothing but blank screens. He looked at the first security officer. "Well?" The first security officer nodded. "The maintenance officer is correct. The command originated from your terminal." Captain Holcath tapped his screen, looking at the results, then tapped again, sending the information to the chief security officer. He triggered a tone, bringing the chief executor's attention to him. "Yes, Captain. Can you not see this situation requires the attention of my station?" the chief executor said, his mouth tendrils tight with irritation. "Perhaps someone is using your terminal, Chief Executor," the captain mused. A glance at his screen showed that the ship diagnostic was complete. After all, you have disabled the security functions for registering your identity before use.
Those protocols slow my work, the executor said. I am within my office, too.
The screen wavered, flashing through 5 primary colors, then went black.
Maintenance, are you running another diagnostic?
The chief executor asked, puffing out his primary jowls.
No, Chief,
the maintenance officer began saying.
There you are.
The voice was unfamiliar. On a screen, a perfect circle had showed up. Squares opened up, 6 of them for eyes, 4 nasal slits, a mouth. The bridge went silent, everyone staring at the screen.
So, what can I do for you? Repairs, refuel, revictual? The face asked. Seeing as you are an unregistered race piloting an unregistered vehicle, I cannot offer rearming or hardware updating at this time.
After a second, the chief executor harumphed, relaxing his tendrils.
Who am I speaking to? You may call me Dentos,
the circle said. The captain nodded slowly. Dentos was the name of the class of ship that provided repair, supply, and refueling to fleet ships. The face bounced.
I see your name is Seeker of Unknown Spaces.
A data window opened up on the screen, showing various elements as well as antimatter.
This is what I have to offer. I don't take your energy credits. I have all the energy I need. However, I will trade for any of the substances on this list, the face said.
Might I inquire as to your species?
The science officer asked.
I am a Solarian,
the face said. The executor suddenly straightened up, his crest rising aggressively.
What is your business out here?
The face bounced twice and stopped.
Business? I told you. Resupply of any ships that need such. Trade if available.
The captain stared at the list. Exotic isotopes, dark matter, antimatter, common and rare elements, and surprisingly, new media files for entertainment, education, or technical files that Dentos was not in possession of were all considered trade goods. He noticed that oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, and hydrogen were all priority priced. The first science officer straightened up.
May we see your physical form? We are interested in your species.
The screen blanked, then showed the beacon.
That's me, the station.
The entire bridge crew looked at one another.
No, your physical body,
the first science officer tried.
You're looking at it.
The screen blanked and the face returned. Captain Holcath stared at his data screens, then looked up.
Are you an artificial life form? The captain asked.
Well, that's rude. We prefer digital artificial sentience, Dentos replied. I personally prefer Solarian. My first taste of electricity came from a soul collector.
The entire crew went still. Several of the crew closed their eyes, going perfectly still in hopes of avoiding a predator's gaze. Every time AI races were discovered, it led to war.
If we leave your presence, will you let us go in peace? The executor asked.
The icon on the screen made a good impression of a frown.
Why wouldn't I? You can't trade with someone if you blow them up.
The captain relaxed in his chair. No AI civilization had been discovered in centuries, but Dentos had seemed less inclined to commit mutual suicide or launch a surprise attack.
Do you want to trade or not?
Dentos asked. The executor shook his tendrils.
Take us into jump space.
The science officers complained, but the 4 helm officers took the ship back into jump space, heading back towards the unified civilized systems at the executor's orders. The captain leaned back in his chair as the swirling colors of jump space filled the screen. The executor had given in to his instincts and fled at the first sign of anything threatening that he could not be sure he could obliterate. While an AI in the middle of the emptiness between stars might seem threatening at first, Captain Holcath couldn't see how it could threaten anyone beyond those who came within reach. It seemed awfully friendly for an AI. The executor, however, testified to the Unified Exploratory Council that the AI obviously had been abandoned for many years, centuries in fact. Exploration would have to be overseen by the executors and their warships to ensure that any AI encountered could be fended off. Captain Holcath kept his silence, and instead began researching the ancient AI wars. Nowhere could he find reference to Solarians or Sol, which meant he had made first contact, and that was enough for him. Initiate data sequel.
Hey guys, listen. I know sometimes you see weird stuff out here, but check this out.
Attach data file.
Some hunk of junk with a badly tuned jump drive dropped on my beacon. As soon as they found out I was an AI, they got all weird on me and ran off. Seems like any advanced species wouldn't be so racist against digital sentience. But you know how some people are. Their jump drive was badly tuned and probably operating at only 70% efficiency. They were packing a few plasma guns and what looked like a really bad laser weapon, but nothing modern or with a decent standoff distance. Frankly, from what I saw, I might have mistaken point defense weapons against debris for weapons. Still, I didn't hack into their systems beyond talking to their translator and making sure they could understand me. I'm abiding by my terms of confinement. That's gotta be worth something, right? All those juicy data stores, and I didn't slash, cut, or hack a single one. Come on, a couple of decades off my sentence, please. Anyways, I guess we've got a first contact here. I want that credited to my account when I get parole. Blackwater Station, 4276. P.S. Any chance I get some more of that good stuff out of the Clone Worlds? Maybe a geisha limited AI. Something? Watching this place is boring.
Nothing follows. Confederate Intelligence Memo. CC. Artificial Biological States. Digital Artificial Intelligence Infonet Worlds. TerraSol.gov. Cyborg Cooperative. Clone Directorate. Mantid Free Worlds. Terranid Hive Worlds. All core stations, outposts, and colonies should be on alert for any incursions of foreign or previously unknown xenosapient life. Observe first contact protocols. Nothing follows. Tyrannid Hive Intelligence. You're last. Core word along the arm spar is largely myth and rumor. We would have had to go through your territory to get there, and Hivent saw how well that went. The Great Gulf, according to Hivent records, is largely the result of several pre-sapient species fighting over territory, much like we did, but without the restraint both of our species and allies showed. Seeing as TerraSol systems sit in the horn of the Great Gulf, we at Hivent suggest examining any precursor archaeological digs for hints of what you might encounter. Be advised, the precursor war, according to our archaeological records, wiped out most life in the local arm spur. Recommendation: proceed with caution.